Thank you so much for this opportunity to communicate the commencement of the senior officials meeting in preparation of the Council of Ministers meeting, which will take place on the 12th or 13th. We started this session this morning to look at the agenda of the Council of Ministers. Key to our deliberation in the coming 2 days will be, one, receiving a report, a midterm report of the 10-year strategic plan of SADC, which is called the Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan. We have now reached the 5-year mark, and this session will be receiving a report on how SADC is performing as a region, but as an organization, in achieving the regional integration agenda goals and targets that we set. One, the RSDP, this plan has got 5 strategic pillars. Pillar number 1 is on industrial development and market integration, and that is industrialization. We reflecting on how far we are doing as a region in terms of industrialization. We set an ambitious program and targets the past 5 years. And this session we will be looking at receiving a comprehensive report on how we have performed. For example, we have noted already that the region is not doing well in terms of manufacturing. Industrialization is not doing well as well, but there are strategic decisions that must be made to ensure that by 2030 we have a region that has advanced in terms of industrialization. The SADC adopted the Regional Industrialization Plan. We are also looking at how we are performing in terms of that plan. What we seek of our region is a region where 16 of its member states are developing together, that no one is left behind. And that is why one of the key programs that have been adopted is what we call the regional value chains. Regional value chains, for example, envisaging deliberate development of certain sectors across the region. For example, they are in the area of mining, the area of pharmaceutical, for example, in the area of agriculture. So we are here to assess how far we've performed, and the record we are getting is that of mixed performance. We are doing well, but more can still be done in order to reach the target that we have set in 2030. So that is one of the key programs of this mission. The second strategic pillar talks to cross-border regional infrastructure development. We seek to connect our region's 16 countries through rail, road, for example, and digital connectivity. So we've received a report, we will be receiving a report as well, which will be presented to the ministers on the 12th and 13th on how the region is doing in terms of infrastructure development. North-South corridor is one of the flagship projects that we are looking at. The development of the one-stop border posts. SADC had put a target of 17 one-stop border posts. So far, 6 are operational, but we need to reach that target of 17. And the one-stop border post is not just about people moving. It's also about enabling the movement of goods across the region. And that's what we'll be looking at. Pillar number 3, for example, is on agriculture and agro-processing. Our region is endowed with arable land, rich, fertile land, but at the same time, we're dealing with the challenge of food insecurity. So SADC has set a program and has adopted a regional agricultural master plan. We are assessing how we have performed in terms of the implementation of that master plan. And fourthly, it's the issue of social and human capital. It's like unless you have the well-capacitated citizenry, workers who are able to develop the economy won't be able to do so. We are looking at issues of youth and women. We're looking at issues of innovation and education. So that's pillar number 4. And lastly, is around cross-cutting issues around climate change. Whilst our region has got good agricultural potential, but climate change challenges are also there with us. So we'll be reflecting on how the region is doing so. We're doing so, preparing ourselves for the next 5 years so that by 2030 we're in a better position. South Africa is chairing the SADC, firstly in the interim, and that is why this meeting is taking place here in Pretoria, and the Council of Ministers will also be taking here, and the summit will be in December. And as a country, in our national capacity, we are looking at what we can do more to advance regional integration. We have an obligation as a member of this community to ensure that the commitments that are made and reached at the regional level are implemented nationally as well as regionally. And we are also looking at aligning our national plans, not only South Africa, but all 16 countries, aligning their national development plan to the regional development plan as well as to the continental, the AU vision. So that is, in summary, what will be preoccupying us in the coming 2 days. Already 2 days ago, we had an informal session of all member states where we received 2 reports, preliminary report on the midterm review of the Regional Indicative Strategic Plan, but we also received progress report on the transformation of the SADC Parliamentary Forum into a SADC Parliament. So those are 2 reports that will now be presented to the Committee of Senior Officials and for finalization to be presented to the Ministers' Council. The foundation of all these strategic pillars is issue of peace, security and governance. And I'm glad that you reminded. That's the foundation that unless there's peace, there's development in our region, we won't be able to achieve our developmental goals. In fact, the report that the ministers will be considering highlights the fact that of all the strategic pillars, one pillar where this region is doing relatively well is in the area of peace, except in those 2 areas. In Mozambique, the northern part of Mozambique, as well as in the eastern DRC, this region is relatively peaceful and stable. And so there's always an ongoing progress report on how we are doing in all those areas and what we can do, what measures we must do to prevent conflicts, because that's very important. And when they occur, what you need to do to manage them in order to resolve them.
Would you be proposing the ministers to also consider the issue of geopolitical tensions that's happening outside the borders of this continent and the region, particularly in the Middle East?
One of the documents that this Committee of Senior Officials is going to consider is the agenda of the ministers' meeting. And yes, indeed, there is a proposal which this meeting will adopt around a reflection on geopolitics and its impact on the region. In fact, the midterm report is also accompanied by a risk plan. The report identifies risks which will militate against the achievement of our plan. And one of them is the impact of geopolitics on our program of action. And so that is an important issue that the ministers are going to reflect on when they meet.